When did you see someone promoted for all the wrong reasons? Specialist Jason Blake was the laziest soldier I ever served with. Couldn't run a mile without stopping, failed PT tests regularly, showed up late to formation twice a week. But he had one thing going for him. His father was a 3-star general. Blake spent most of his time hiding in supply closets, playing games on his phone while the rest of us pulled his weight. During field exercises, he'd fake injuries to avoid heavy lifting. Got food poisoning every time we had weekend duty. Our first sergeant hated him. Staff sergeants avoided him. Even privates fresh out of basic training had more motivation. But Blake sailed through his first 2 years untouchable because of daddy's stars. Then something weird happened. Blake started getting commendations for work he never did. Bronze Star recommendation for exceptional performance during Operation Iron Thunder. Problem was, Blake spent that entire operation in the rear with gear, claiming his back was injured. I wrote the after-action report. Blake's name wasn't mentioned once because he contributed nothing. But somehow, 6 months later, his version had him leading the assault team and saving 3 wounded soldiers. The investigation that should have happened never came. Instead, Blake got promoted to sergeant ahead of guys who'd been waiting 2 years. Soldiers with actual combat experience, leadership potential, and respect from their peers got passed over for daddy's boy. That's when things got really ugly. Blake's new position put him in charge of vehicle maintenance. Within a month, 3 Humvees broke down during patrol because he'd signed off on inspections he never performed. One breakdown happened during contact with enemy forces. Soldiers had to abandon their vehicle and call for extraction while taking fire. All because Blake had rubber-stamped maintenance records while playing poker in the motor pool office. Command couldn't ignore that. Too many witnesses, too much danger to actual lives. But instead of court-martial, Blake got quietly transferred to a different unit. Clean record, fresh start, recommendation letters praising his leadership potential. 6 months later, heard through the grapevine that Blake made staff sergeant. His new unit didn't know about the maintenance failures or the fake commendations, just saw a soldier with impressive-looking paperwork and family connections. Meanwhile, Corporal Davis, who'd actually saved those soldiers during the vehicle breakdown, was still waiting for his promotion. 3 combat deployments, 2 Purple Hearts, recommendations from every officer he'd served under, but no 3-star daddy to make phone calls. The real kicker came 2 years later. Blake got commissioned as an officer through some accelerated program his father arranged. Went from lazy specialist to second lieutenant in 4 years total. His first assignment? Training new recruits at a basic training facility. Teaching leadership to kids who had more integrity in their pinky finger than Blake had in his entire body. I ran into one of his former trainees at a bar. Kid told me horror stories about Lieutenant Blake's incompetence. How he'd show up hungover to training exercises. How he'd make privates do his paperwork while he disappeared for hours. But the weird thing, the kid said, was how all the other officers treated him like he was some kind of rising star. Like they were afraid to criticize him. That's when I realized the real problem. Blake wasn't just getting promoted despite his failures. He was being groomed for higher command. Daddy was building his resume for a political career after the military. 5 years later, Blake made captain, then major. Each promotion faster than normal, each assignment carefully chosen to pad his record without exposing his incompetence. Last I heard, he's a lieutenant colonel now, probably headed for his own star someday. Meanwhile, the good soldiers who actually served with honor are getting out, disgusted with a system that rewards connections over competence. That's how you destroy an institution from within. Not with enemy action or budget cuts. Just promote the wrong people for the wrong reasons long enough, and the good people leave on their own.